Hello everyone. Today I'm going to introduce a paper talk about how expectation have effect on humans' perception by Peter, Janneke, and Floris. Humans' experience with the visual world dictates our prediction about what other objects to expect in scenes and their spatial configuration. For example, please see two images below. The object of cognition cannot be accomplished quickly because of the low image quality, but contextual information can provide more relevant input for the recognition. From the left part, participants more easily identify the object in the red circle as a drill based on its workbench-like background. For the right part, it is identified as a hair dryer for its wash basin background. This formulation of perception processing by using contextual information and experience is top-down processing aspect of the perception. It has been acknowledged that the brain activity in a specific area, like a visual area, with expectation was significantly lower than that of the non-expected group as shown on the right. However, the result of this experiment only show that top-down expectation lead to a decrease in neural activity in visual cortex, and we still don't know the specific mechanism about exact neural activity within the area. So, the goal of this study is to answer the question, what is specific neural mechanism behind top-down expectation? Two possible theories has been proposed to explain it. One is that perception facilitation can be achieved through suppressed neural response in early cortical areas that are consistent with expectation. They argue that this is redundant because it is predictable. The other option is suppressed neural response that are inconsistent with expectation. Such a coding scheme would result in sharpening of the response. So, this experiment, by testing two theories to investigate the neural mechanism of how top-down expectation alters sensory processing. For your understanding, I would say some cells in primary visual cortex are feature detector, with simple cortical cells being sensitive to orientation. SQ model will not describe here, but it is important to keep in mind that the cells encoding different orientation are arranged in column in a sequential style. In this experiment, people receive an auditory cue, then two grading stimuli, and finally make a judgment. The auditory cues indicate the orientation of the grading to be present, 45 and 135 degrees. The first grading stimuli and the second will be different. Not only the orientation will be changed, but the contrast will also be changed. The orientation and the contrast difference between two gratings were determined by an adaptive staircase procedure, separately for trials containing expected and unexpected orientations. Response about orientation and contrast were collected by bottom box. How does this experiment manipulate participants' expectation? To do this, they change the validity between auditory cue and stimulus. In some blocks, auditory cue has high validity, which is 75% and were therefore expected, whereas in other blocks, they have low validity and so it cannot be expected. The contingency between cues and grating were flipped halfway through the experiment, and the order was counterbalanced over subjects. The whole experiment will be conducted in fMRI, which can get information about brain activity. The highlight of this study is that fMRI data was analyzed using MVPA method. Think back. Our study was based on exploring which specific visual cells were inhibited in the context of decreased activation level across the brain, and this is where MVPA comes in. It can measure cells that are coding expected orientation and unexpected orientation separately. For the result, there are many results in the paper, so I choose the most important to report here. It was shown that the neuron preferred currently present orientation are relatively unsuppressed. In contrast, neurons not prefer current present orientation are relatively suppressed. The t-test show there is a significant difference between both groups. The activation of neurons that do not match expectation are done regularly. These results support the second theory. So when the preference of a voxel for the presented orientation is stronger, the suppression effect would be smaller. Overall, top-down expectation lead to suppressed response in striatum cortex, enhance the amount of information about the orientation of the stimulus. These results support the second hypothesis. Neural response in early cortical area that are inconsistent with current expectations will be suppressed, which leading to sharpening effect. The mechanism behind top-down expectation alters sensory processing has also been clarified. The implication of the study is it used an advanced methodology to tackle issues that cannot or hard to be issued by previous technology. They use multiple voxel pattern analysis to address issues that cannot be addressed by traditional univariate analysis. It fills the blank on the specific mechanism by how top-down expectation facilitates perception. That's all. Thank you.